class, I instructed you how to write the project report of Lean Startup Management. I have already made the group division. Hopefully you have started your project, and as early as possible you complete your project and you submit the report. You have seen that in chapter 4 I have instructed that you should write business model development, which may include some mathematical and or graphical analysis. So in the graphical analysis part or mathematical analysis part, or in general speaking analysis part, you might apply some tools. Okay, so today we will talk about different tools of marketing which are very frequently used, and before that we will little bit know about what is market, because this is the most important thing of unless you know the basics there will be problem. So market is a place where buyers and seller together and exchange their goods and services for money and money worth. A public place where buyers and sellers make transaction directly or via intermediaries. So it is basically a place or area of potential exchange as given by the definition of Philip Kotler. Or a market consists of all the existing and potential consumers sharing a particular need or want who might be willing and able to engage in exchange to satisfy that need or want. So it is a place where the exchange is made. Okay. So that is actually known as market. Now let's take a look at the definition of marketing. Marketing is an organizational function and a set of processes for creating, communicating, and delivering value to customers, and for managing customer relationships in ways that benefit the organization and its stakeholders. This is the definition given by AMA, American Marketing Association. And as per the definition given by Dr. Philip Kotler, it is a social and managerial process whereby individuals and groups obtain what they need and want through creating and exchanging products and value with others. Okay. So, and also a lot of other definitions you will find for marketing, but these definitions are very popular, particularly the definition of Philip Kotler. He was an American marketing author, consultant, and professor of international marketing in Kellogg School of Management at Northwestern University. Okay. Now let's take a look at the importance of marketing. Marketing processes brings goods and services to satisfy the needs and wants of the people. It helps to bring new varieties and quality goods to consumers. By making goods available at all places, it brings equipment, distribution. Marketing converts latent demand into effective demand. It gives wide employment opportunities. It creates time, place, and possession utilities to the products. Efficient marketing results in lower cost of marketing and ultimately lower prices to consumers. Its vital link between production and consumption and primarily responsible to keep the wheel of production and consumption constantly moving. It creates to keep the standard of living of the society. So there are several benefits of importance of marketing you can see. Okay. So basically in our course we will discuss in details about marketing. We will focus, and if we have time we may also discuss a little bit about what is human resource management. Okay. But in case of any operational operation, if you want to implement any operations management related tools and techniques, or the financial management oriented tools and techniques, you need to study and you need to implement it at your own. Why? Because there could be several different tools of financial management, and also for example the operations management. So in those cases you need to implement your own. But in case of marketing or HRM, some very typical standard tools are used. So it will be why we are doing the classes of today, because in a lot of cases we can use those tools and techniques. So it will be better for us if we know already the tools and techniques. Okay, so those tools and techniques you can use. Now you should know the difference between marketing and sales. Uh, the main difference, you can see that a lot of differences are given, but the basic difference between marketing and sales is that marketing is very much customer centric, or you first know the voice of customers, or VOC, what customers want, and as per the requirement of the customers you try to produce. So this is actually known as marketing. So this is a kind of pull system. Whereas in case of sales, you first produce your product and then you manage you convince the customers that how to uh, they should purchase the product. So that is known as sales. So sales is a narrow concept as compared to marketing, and the selling is also a push kind of systems. Okay, so this is one uh, basic thing you can see. Uh, Now you selling versus marketing, there is another slide is given, but we can delete this slide because this is clearly can be understood from this. Okay. Now now we will see the four main different types of market structure. This is actually important because you should know that whenever you are going to make a product, that where you are trying to put yourself or place yourself in terms of launching of the product or service, you can see that there are four different market structures. One is perfect competition. The first one is perfect competition. Now, what is perfect competition? In perfect competition, there are many small firms, thousands of small firms. They almost their types of goods are identical and all the same, and they basically have a competition among themselves, and this is actually known as perfect competition. So the barriers to entry, it is low. That means you can easily get into this type of market. Then the second market structure is then the second market structure is then the second market structure you can see that is imperfect competition or monopolistic competition. And here the number of firms, many small firms, hundreds in real life, they actually they compete with each other, and the types of goods are similar almost, but very slight different are there. And here also the barriers to entry is low because you can easily get into this kind of market. The example of monopolistic competition is novels or movies, whereas in case of perfect competition, the wheat, milk, these are in case of the perfect competition. Okay. Now, another market structure is oligopoly. Okay. So here the number of farms are few, tens, suppose around 10. They compete with each other, oligopoly structure, and the types of goods they could be same or different, doesn't matter, but the barrier to entry, it is high. That means this is difficult to get into this market. The example is tennis balls or crude oil. Okay. Then the last is monopoly. Here the number of firms is only one. Types of goods, it is unique, and the barriers to entry, it is very high, very difficult to get into this market. Okay. What is the example? Tap water or cable TV. Suppose now you know the IPL is going on. So in a particular country, only one television channel or network will get the legal permission to broadcast it. For example, suppose in Australia, only Fox TV has got the permission. So only there is only one company. Okay. So these are the different kinds of market structures which you should consider before launching your product or service in the market. Now another thing is ethical marketing. What is ethical marketing? Ethical marketing refers to the application of marketing ethics into the marketing process. Marketing ethics has the potential to benefit society as a whole, both in the short and long term. Study of ethical marketing should be included in applied ethics and involves examination of whether or not an honest and factual representation. Marketing ethics has influenced companies, and their response is to market their products in a more socially responsible way. The increasing trend of fair trade is an example of the impact of ethical marketing. So, what do you understand from it? In ethical marketing, the factual representation is the main thing. Can you get it? In some cases, it has been noticed earlier that the factual representation was incorrect, and that should not come under ethical marketing, because you, while marketing your product or service, you should not give such kind of you should not ensure such kind of things which is not possible, or scientifically which is not feasible. So those kinds of things are not actually valid. For example, suppose earlier the fairness schemes, they used to proclaim that if somebody uses their products, they will get fairer. So, which is scientifically that is not possible, because it represents pigments. So, this kind of factual representation is actually, this kind of representation actually, it is not fact. It is basically it is incorrect. So this is not case of ethical marketing. So when you are doing your marketing, you should keep remember that you should not say something which is not factual representation. Okay. So now we will look at very important differences. I am downloading this part. That is actually the difference between customer and consumer. This was not there, so I'm downloading it from the net, and I am actually I will put it here. Okay, so this is the difference between customer and consumer. Very often you will see that they are used, these terms, but they are not exactly the same. A customer is the one who purchases the product, and a consumer may or may not purchase, but is the end user. So that is known as the consumer. A customer can resell the product for getting profit. consumer cannot resell the product for profit. A customer could be anybody, individual, company, or mass. A consumer is a single entity or company as a whole. A monetary transaction is a must to buy the product. A monetary transaction is optional. Okay, so they are actually the consumer. So we can give some examples of customer versus consumer. Suppose when you are suppose purchasing a product from retailer. Okay, so that is an example of the customer. Okay. Now, but the consumer means, suppose suppose who is the end users? Who are the end users? They will be treated as consumer. Suppose a great example could be, suppose in VIT, you can see that there are different journal access are there. So the customer is definitely VIT, because VIT is actually purchasing the access of different journals. But VIT itself is not the consumer. Who is the consumer? The students are the consumers, or the research scholars or the professors, they are the consumers. Okay. Suppose you consider a carpet. Who is the customer? The homeowner is the customer. Who will be the consumer? Everyone who comes in the house, they will be the consumer. Okay. So these are the examples of the customer versus consumer. Okay. Suppose in case of building material, the contractor is the customer, but the person who uses the building, they are the consumer. So these are some differences, key differences between customer and versus consumer. Okay. So so this you should also know, because very often we use these terminologies called customer or and consumer. Okay. So whatever we have discussed so far, that is basically the basics of marketing. Now we will directly move on to the analysis part. What kind of tools and techniques we can use in marketing, which is very important. So first, let's discuss on SWOT analysis, SWOT, SWOT analysis. So SWOT analysis, it is a useful tool to develop and evaluate strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats that may affect a project. SWOT. S for strength, W for weakness, O for opportunities, and T for threats. So this strategic tool can also be used while finding the project scopes and doing the feasibility study. However, in this stage, it is easier to involve the stakeholders to perform this test. The SWOT analysis is performed in a 2x2 grid template. Each section of the grid has one of the SWOT headings. So You can see it in the next diagram. This is how the SWOT analysis is done. So you can see that strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats, they are represented by each grid in a 2x2 4 grid platform. And strength and weakness, they basically deal with the internal origin of the organization. Their strength of the their nature is internal. Okay. And opportunities and threats, they deal with external origin, because they cannot be as such directly controlled by the organization itself. And strengths and opportunities are actually helpful, okay, to develop the organization, whereas weakness and threats are not helpful, they are harmful in fact. Okay. So these kind of things, strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats, you can do it for any organization or any, whenever you are launching your product, you can also, that is also kind of project, and you can identify that what are your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Okay. So for example, in your organization, suppose in case of VIT, VIT is suppose launching a particular course on business analytics. So what are the strengths? Strength means suppose VIT has got its very huge reputation, is that is its strength. Okay. What is its weaknesses? Weaknesses means suppose they do not have enough skills or enough management or enough staffs to deal with the courses of business analytics. So that may be treated as a weakness, or there may be lack of industry, academia, collaboration. So that may be treated as a weakness. But the interesting thing is to be noted that the strength and weaknesses which you have enough control over it. Why? Because both are internal factor. They are harmful things. So you can control it and you can convert it in your strength. Whereas if you look at the opportunities and threats, suppose if you look at the present era, then nowadays business analytics, it is becoming very popular. Okay, everywhere, particularly in case of the pandemic period, there is a lot of opportunities are going on. Okay, to analyze the lot data. Okay, and identifying some pattern, or concluding something ultimately. So these are related to these are all the opportunities which are not the inner strength of VIT, but it is actually market opportunities is there. Okay, because there is a lot of demand of this area. So this is known as opportunities. And also there is some threat. Okay, because what could be the threats? Because a lot of institutes, they are also a lot of small organizations, they are also having, or they are also providing the courses of business analytics. So that is the threat, and you have no control over it. You cannot restrict their courses. You can only increase your strength, but you have no control over these kinds of threats. So that's why you need to keep these things in your mind. Okay. And why, you will ask that why actually SWOT analysis is performed. The reason is that we need to identify that what kind of harmful things and helpful things we have, and particularly harmful things we have, and how can we control over it directly or indirectly. Because weaknesses, we can control our weaknesses directly, but the threats we cannot directly control, but indirectly, by increasing our strength, we can reduce our threats. Okay, for example, by improving the quality of the business analytics course, we can, or improving our marketing idea, we can have more number of students rather than the other institutes which are threats. Okay, and also this is an indirect process, and directly some weaknesses are there. For example, there is not enough faculties, we can increase the number of faculties. So in this way we can also decrease our weaknesses, which belong to the internal origin. So this is one tool. Now another tool is very important: consumer buying behavior. Okay, so this is not as such a tool. I would say that this is actually your consumer buying behavior. It is actually it is basically whenever you are going to launch your product or service, you need to consider that in which particular domain it involves. Consumer buying behavior refers to the buying behavior of final consumers, individuals and households who buy goods and services for personal consumption. Okay. The central question for marketers is, how do consumers respond to various marketing efforts the company might use? In order to answer the question, you require that. Okay, because you want to identify the behavior of the customers. And there are 4 different types of behaviors as found by the customers. Okay. Sorry, consumers actually. So consumer is actually very broad perspective rather than only the customer. Suppose one is complex buying behavior, then variety seeking buying behavior, then dissonance reducing buying behavior, and habitual buying behavior. Okay. So complex, let's talk about first the complex buying behavior. What is the example? The example is mobile. Okay, suppose if somebody wants to, if we want to purchase a mobile, then we have high involvement in it. Okay, we select our mobile meticulously. We do some lot of research works before purchasing the mobile, and then we go for it. That means there is it is a very serious purchase. High involvement is there. Okay. And there the differences between the brands, that is also very much significant here in case of mobile. Okay, so that's why it is termed as complex buying behavior, where you have high involvement, the consumers have high involvement, and significant differences exist between brands. Now, alternatively, if you see the variety seeking buying behavior, then there will be significant differences between brands, but there will be low involvement of the consumers. For example, suppose chips. This is a very good example. Suppose variety seeking buying behavior, the chips, we always if the customers who want to purchase cheap packets, they want significant, they see that there are significant differences between brands, okay, in terms of tastes. Not each and every chip is palatable, but the involvement is low because the consumers, they do not take it very seriously. Okay, they do not they do not do, or they do not research a lot before purchasing chips. They simply purchase one chip and they taste it. If it is good, then they will purchase it again, and if it is not good, they won't purchase it again. So involvement is low, but significant differences exist between brands. So this is known as variety seeking buying behavior, because here the consumers, they always look for the variety. Now the third one is dissonance reducing buying behavior. Okay. So perfect example is medicine, where you have high involvement. Okay, high involvement is there because before purchasing a medicine, suppose you will have to go to a doctor. The doctor will prescribe a medicine, and it's a serious thing because you you are dealing with your health, and you do this is the high involvement is there. Okay, but few differences between the brands. If you notice the differences between brands, then there is a very uh, low differences. For example, different uh, companies, they might give different names for a particular medicine, but the generic name of the medicine will remain the same. So few differences you will find between the brands, but the customers will have high involvement in it. Now, the fourth and the last buying behavior, it is habitual buying behavior. This is basically, this focuses on the habits of the customers. Suppose a perfect example could be salt, where you will have the consumers will have low involvement, but few differences between brands. Why low involvement? Because before purchasing salt, a lot of research works will not be done by the consumers. They usually, before purchasing salt, they do not take it very seriously. They do not take it as serious as in case of mobile purchase or medicine purchase. Okay, so they take it very the seriousness is less, so there is low involvement, and also few differences between brands, because almost all the brands, they will be same. There will be very few differences between brands. It depends upon mostly the habit of the uh, consumers. Okay, so uh, this is known as habitual buying behavior. Okay, and so this is also required, the kind of product that you are selecting for your lean startup. Okay, you must think about that, what kind of product or what kind of service you are dealing with, whether it deals with complex buying behavior of the consumers, whether it is variety seeking buying behavior, whether it is dissonance reducing buying behavior, or whether it is habitual buying behavior. So you need to consider all those things before launching the product or before launching the service into the market. Okay, so So okay, so these are for today's class. So now I'm going to okay. So now I'm going to stop the recording and